Hey everyone, we're back with another edition of How to Do Things. And in this video, what we're doing is we're learning how to actually graph and solve projectile motion problems. Projectile motion is a parabolic pattern that takes place. So imagine you're watching baseball or golf and you see, something go up and then down. What's happening is it's creating a parabola. Everything that goes up has to come down. Rocket launchers, missiles, things like that, they use that parabolic pattern. If I was trying to shoot something at a distance, I got to follow a parabola. And so when we look at something like this, we're saying, and this is straight from physics, that the position of something, the final position, is equal to negative 16t squared plus v sub naught t plus s sub naught. And each one of these things represents something else. So when we look first in S stands for the final height. The T in this problem stands for the time that's taken place, and that's always in seconds in this case. The V sub 0 is my initial velocity, my starting velocity. And then S sub 0 is my starting position, like where it actually is, the starting height, okay? So when we look at the first equation here, it says a projectile is being launched straight up from the ground. So let's position what this looks like, okay? It's being launched from the ground, so boom, okay? And it left at 80 feet per second. So it's going to go up and go back down, okay? So let's write what this equation looks like just from that information. Negative 16t squared. What's happening is it has an initial velocity of 80 feet per second, so 80t. Since it's being launched from the ground, it's going to have 0 for its initial starting height. Okay, so this is a very simple quadratic that I'm going to go ahead and solve. That if we were to say, well, when does it hit the ground again? It's going to be 0 is equal to negative 16t squared plus 80t. Okay, I can factor out some stuff here. We get negative 16t times t minus 5, just taking out the GCF there. And if I solve each one of these, negative 16t is equal to 0. That means that t is equal to 0. And then negative 16t, I'm sorry, let me erase that. That t minus 5 that we have there, t minus 5 is equal to 0. That means that t is equal to 5. So now think about what this means. That means that my projectile leaves the ground, okay, and then it's going through the air and it lands 5 seconds later. That's what those two numbers actually mean. Now, look what the question's asking, though, for this first one. It says, when will the projectile's height above the ground be 60? So what we're saying is we're taking this ending height, and we're wondering when is it going to actually be equal to 60, okay? When is 60 is equal to negative 16t squared plus 80t plus 0, because it's starting from the ground and has an initial velocity of 80. So you would take the 60, you move this over, and it's all wackadoo. This turns into a quadratic that we can't really factor. We have to use the quadratic formula, unfortunately. Or we go to decimals and we graph it. Now here's what this graph looks like. Okay. And what I did was I went ahead and graphed our equation y is equal to negative 16x squared plus 80x. And I went ahead and put in the equation, well, when is it equal to 60? Okay. And it's at this point right here that it's equal to 60. And at this point right here is when it's equal to 60. So it's going up, it's 60, goes above 60, comes back down, it's at 60, and then it's under, and it's below 60. Okay? And again, let me restate what I just said here. Right here, as it's going up, this is below 60. Okay? And then again, when we look at it right here is when it is below 60. Okay? Now the other part, when we look at it, right here is when it is above 60. Okay? I mean, just based off this graph, my problem is now complete. All I have to do is write out the information here that corresponds with what they're asking. By the way, let me throw in some spots here. So we got 0 and we got 5. The rest of my parabola we technically don't care about because I can't go backwards in time, and that's what this portion right here is. And we can't really go underground here unless it's like a bunker type situation, so we don't care about that. But we just focus on the stuff that's in that first quadrant portion. Okay? So let's go ahead and write out the intervals here. The first question asks, when will the projectile's height above the ground be 60? So that's when it's actually equal to 60. And here are my answers. Ready? It's when t is equal to 0.919 and when t is equal to 4.081. So after 0.919 seconds and after 4.081 seconds. Oops, can't see that. All right, let me just move this because that's in the way. All right. For the second one, it says, when will the projectile's height above the ground be at least 60? Well, when we say at least 60, we're saying greater than or equal to 60. Okay? Well, the part when it's above, as we said earlier, is going to be right here. This is the portion that's above. And so the interval where that it's going to take place is going to be from 0.9, wrote that all wrong, from 0.919, and we're going up to 4.081, and it's inclusive. We say it's inclusive because it says it's at least. That means it's okay to be at 60. If it said more than 60, we would not be including those values. For letter C, it says, when will the projectile's height above the ground be less than or equal to 60? So now we're saying, when is it below? So that's going to happen in these two intervals right here. So this one right here is where it's below, and this one right here is where it's below. So now let's go ahead and write those two. Oh my God, I'm in the way again. I'm always in the way. I swear to God, I feel like I'm at home. All right, so in this one then, we're looking at when it's below here and when it's below here. Okay, so in this, let's go ahead and write those inequalities. For the first one, it's going to be from 0 all the way up to 0.919 inclusive. And then what happens is we get a break. So it literally stops from one to the other. And then it picks up again at 4.081 all the way up until 5 seconds when it's back at the ground. Okay? So those are my two intervals where it's less than or equal to 60. All right? Hope this makes sense. If not, just let me know. But just remember, no hair, no problem. And don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. You take care, be safe, and have a good one.